Hey, that was a hell of a game plan, Zach.
Hey, what do you take?
Great game plan.
What do you take?
For real.
Jackpot! 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 Let's go. In the day, black in the night. Stripes in our veins, sparks gonna fly. The beast is awake, orange, black and white. Cause when the jungle come alive, day we ignite in Cincinnati, we gon' rise in the jungle, we unite in dripping orange and black and white. Day when we fight, live and die in these stripes. Wake up the beast, every day is a feast. Time to bust it off the leash. In the jungle, dripping heat. Tigers strike the city streets. East side, stand up. West side, stand up. If you reppin', who that? Time to put your hands up. Bengals stripes, we in it. New day, new age, yeah, we get it. Cincinnati, jungle fitted. Who they in our house, we win it. Orange and black and white, we build it. Earn our stripes, you know we kill it. Bleed our colors, jungle dripping. Nasty, natty, yeah, we lit it. Lit the crowd, get the city loud. Yeah, we feasting now. Fit the pounce, make the city howl. Now we beastin' now. Thunder through the tunnel, from the sideline to the huddle. Stripes we tatted on the jungle when we flex that who they muscle on them. Stripes, Cincinnati, we gon' rise in the jungle, we unite in dripping orange and black and white. All day when we fight, live and die in these stripes. Now who gotta move like it on? Now who wanna move crossing on? Now who wanna move on? If you got stripes and you let the city know you rock 'em, yeah we got 'em, yeah we fought 'em. Like that black and orange upon 'em, bingo bought 'em. Never stop it till the beast and know who they rockin' with the diamond stripes, flossing on the ring. Cincinnati, she's our queen. We gon' show the world who king. Orange in the day, black in the night. Stripes in our veins, sparks gonna fly. The beast is awake, orange, black and white. Cause when the jungle come alive, day we ignite in Cincinnati, we gon' rise in the jungle, we unite in dripping orange and black and white. All day when we fight, live and die in these stripes. Now who gotta move like it on? Now who wanna move crossing on? Now who wanna move on? All day when we fight, live and die in these stripes.
Hey guys, what's going on? Welcome to the show. This is Sports with Strawberry Ice. I'm your host, the Iceman, Jeff Trunapole. And as always, I'm bringing you sports from a West Side point of view right here in the great city of Cincinnati, Ohio, home of the AFC North champion Cincinnati Bengals. And of course, my boy, the FedEx Air Player of the Week, Jackpot Joey Burrow. That's good news. Anyway, do me a favor. If you found the show, hit that like and subscribe button. Smash that thumbs up. I'm up to 1,913 subscribers. That is awesome. I appreciate every single one of you guys. Now, if you're watching on Twitter or Facebook and you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do so. Please go to the YouTube channel, Sports with Strawberry Ice. Hit the subscription button, hit the bell for the notification, and every time I go live, you'll be notified. Also, exclusively in the YouTube chat crew, we're doing super chat. So if you got something that you want Santori, because we're doing film breakdown here of the Saints game, if you got a super chat or got a question that you want to make sure that Santori answers, or you got a disagreement or whatever, give me a super chat. I greatly appreciate it. And as always, I'm coming to you live from the Ice Cave, and the Ice Cave is brought to you by T Properties. T Properties, quality housing for quality people. Check out their website at www.tpropertiesllc.com for all your rental property management needs and your rental needs. All right, guys. Also, we are in partnership, me and my boys, Bengals and Brews, are in partnership with a partner of the Bengals, which is pretty cool. It's Betfred Sports. Now, as you know, gambling is going to be legalized here in Ohio come January 1st. So I need you guys to try to go get pre-registered. Your decision to pre-register with Betfred Sports just got sweeter. Every pre-registered customer will get a $20 Fred bet when you sign up on or before or after January 1st. Plus, don't forget it's week 4, our massive pre-registration giveaway. So please make sure you go down, click on the link down here below. That's my link and Bengals and Brews link. Click there, fill out your information, and then you'll be automatically registered to win Bengals tickets and some pretty cool merch. And then when January 1st rolls around, they'll have an app and everything, and you can start betting away. It's pretty simple. I'm excited about being a partner with them. So what's up to everybody in the chat? Greg, Haas, Charles, what's going on? Crypt Keeper, Nicole, you're in there. What's going on, everybody? I know you guys are excited about this breakdown with my boy Samtori. Now, the way this whole thing started is I've been trying to find somebody to do this for me because I know a little bit about this stuff to get me in trouble, but not really to be able to explain it. And I don't want to sound like an idiot, which I do sometimes on here on my own. I don't need help. So last week when me and Samtori were driving up to Dale's mom's funeral, the entire time we were breaking down the game, and Samtori is showing me different film clips and all that stuff. I'm like, dude, this is what I want. I was like, what day can you come on? Like every week, I want you to come on and break down what happened in the Bengals game. You know, pick 1 or 2 plays or whatever. We can break it down. He goes, oh, yeah. He's like, I'm off on Wednesdays. I said, perfect. So every Wednesday from now until Samtori either gets tired of coming on here and doing it or he can't do it or whatever, he's going to be here during the Bengals season. So let's get to this thing. I'm very excited to hear Samtori. What's going on, brother?
I'm good, man. I didn't realize you were closing up on 2K there. You know,
yeah. I'm getting close, man. I'm close to 2,000 subs, and dude, I'm getting close to 2,000 total videos and shows. Or excuse me, not 2,000, 1,000 total videos and shows. So I'm hoping to hit them all at the same time. That'd be kind of cool to hit 2,000 subscribers, and then do my 1,000th show. So anyway,
hey, Crypt.
Greg's very excited to see you too.
Yeah, yeah. So, and, you know, I'm not what I would consider a film expert either. I had the opportunity to learn under some really smart film guys, just film people, football coaches, whatever you want to call it, when I coached high school ball. So, you know, just I guess if
you did win a state championship, by the way, just to let everybody know.
I did win a state championship. I didn't. I don't feel like I contributed too much, but I do have the ring for it. So
there you go. You were on the staff.
Yeah, I won state, so that was good. But no, I was able to learn under, I think the 3 main people that taught me played college quarterback. I had 2 or 3 guys that taught me how to watch film defensively that all played in the NFL. So I mean, I do have a little bit of training here. But, you know, I do definitely see some things that I think the average eye might not catch all the time.
Yeah,
but
and the biggest thing that's been happening over the last 2 years has been Zach Taylor's play calling. And I've been on here, you know, saying that it's not necessarily the play calling, it's the execution and all that stuff. And I think you have a good way of explaining how the execution actually worked this week.
Right. And the one thing I want to dive into, and this comes from somebody that had to be in the film room, trying to design game plans when you can't necessarily run what you want to run. Right. So case in point, there was a year where we got to, I guess you call it the AFC Championship round. We were in the Final Four in high school football. Half our team got COVID and we couldn't run what we wanted to run. We were literally getting updates on the bus to the game that we had kids that weren't going to be able to play.
Oh, wow.
So literally an hour before the game, we're having to change our game plan. You know, can we run quarterbacks down? Can we run Wildcat? We have no receivers. Half our offensive line's down. What are we going to do? And, you know, we didn't win that game, unfortunately, but the entire week or 2 after that, all we heard were complaints of what kind of game plan was that? And I'm like, if you can't call what you want to call, it looks bad. So the first couple weeks of the year, the line was absolutely atrocious. There's no way around that. There's no arguing it. I think everybody that's ever watched one game of football in their life would agree that the line was just absolutely dog water.
Now, one thing I want to roll back real quick to play call before you get into the line real quick. Something that you told me on the way up there, and I thought was interesting because people always blame Zach solely for play calling.
Yeah.
Just explain how because it's not just Zach. Explain to me how you said it in the car of how you come to the decision. That to me that's a good way to do it.
So everybody thinks it's just one guy down there calling a play. It's not. Just from my limited experience and the couple times that I was able to wear a headset, there's probably 4 or 5 guys talking in that headset at any given moment. Now, granted, there's only one voice going to Joe Burrow's head, and that is Zach Taylor. So the play is coming directly from Zach Taylor to Joe Burrow in that instance. But you have to remember, there's a run game coordinator. There's a pass game coordinator. There are some coaches that they specialize in third down plays. Then there's Zach Taylor. You've got 3 or 4 guys in between drives, up to 4 to 5 guys that are putting their input on what they want to do. From play to play, there's a minimum of 2 people talking back and forth, sometimes 3. In the Bengals case, it's Zach Taylor, Brian Callahan, and then there is some input from other coaches depending on the scenario. Okay, so Frank Pollock may put in some input depending on what he's seeing in the run game. So you have 25 seconds, basically. And the play clock, once it hits 15 seconds or 10 seconds, whatever that number is, cuts off the radio in the quarterback's helmet. So you have 10 to 15 seconds between 3 people trying to decide what to do. By the way, they're calling 2 plays. They call a run play and a pass play, get that into Joe Burrow. And then sometimes Joe Burrow gets to the line and, oh shit, we got to check out of both of these.
Right.
So it's a lot more complicated than Zach Taylor just looking at one of those giant play sheets and going, what do I want to run here? Because keep in mind, if your line's not blocking the way you anticipated, or Joe Mixon's not seeing the hole the way you anticipated, or Joe Burrow's not quite hidden with rhythm and timing the way you anticipated, that entire play sheet changes week to week and sometimes quarter to quarter. Right. You can rip that up and throw it in the trash, and you've got to go ad lib. So when things aren't going right, especially at the beginning of the year, coming back to the whole offensive line thing, if you can't call what you want to call and you can't run an offense the way that it's designed to be run, there are going to be times where you don't put up points the way that you want to put up. Yeah, it turns into a shit show quickly. Mm-hmm. So they've had to restructure their offense 2 or 3 times during the course of the season already. Beginning of the year, it was 5 wide, it was empty, and Burrow was getting his brains bashed in.
Right.
Then once you hit the Miami and Jet run, right, those 2 games, the Dolphins and Jet game,
right,
they went to more RPOs, they went to more, couple play actions. They were going under center a lot, trying to find ways basically to mask the ineffectiveness of this line. Then it got a little bit better, and we talked last week. It wouldn't surprise me if they get to the Saints game and blow this thing wide open and go back to where they were because they're comfortable now, and boom, 30 points.
Right.
So Zach gets a lot of shit, and I get it because it wasn't effective, what was going on. But it's not necessarily the play caller's fault because there are things that you have to do outside of the realm of how things are designed. And when you're trying to run essentially someone else's offense with a bad offensive line, you can't expect it to go well.
Right.
We've heard ever since Joe Burrow got here and Brian Callahan got here that this was going to be a mix of what goes on in LA and what was going on in LSU. Well, for about 4 weeks, it was a mix of everything. Okay, so you have all week to prepare. So let's see what you've got, Mr. Miles.
Break it on down.
Yeah, so you do have all week to prepare. And guess what? They script the first 25 plays of the game. I don't know how many people know that or not. You run 60 plays, almost half of them are scripted. You practice them all week. Sometimes you go 3 and out the first 3 drives and you go, oh shit, the script's not working. And that's when you start having to ad lib again.
Right. The
difference is the Bengals week to week, because of how bad their line was, had to redo everything.
It depended on how good the line was playing based on what they could do.
Right. You have to, we've seen empty, we've seen RPOs, we've seen power, we've seen duo, we've seen literally just about every offensive scheme with the exception of what the Ravens run in the NFL this year. Mm-hmm. So when you're bouncing week to week to week, defenses are also bouncing week to week to week. And the book on the Bengals was cover 2. And until they figure it out, this is what we're going to run. So now you've got cover 2 all over the place while you're trying to figure out yourself. It doesn't matter how much time you give yourself. Until those 5 guys up front start meshing, it doesn't matter what you run, how you run it, or who you run it with.
Right.
And then it puts Zach Taylor in a bind. Okay, well, we got to try something different. And quite frankly, until the bullets start flying on Sunday, you have no idea how to adjust.
Right.
So if you want to bitch about Zach Taylor, look at every second half this entire year.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's when you have those 12 minutes in the locker room, which is really more about 5.
The halftime adjustments.
Yeah, those are real.
Mm-hmm.
Contrary to what Marvin Lewis tells you, halftime adjustments are real. The reason why you can point to Zach Taylor as being a good game plan and a good call, because look at the second half. Once you see what's actually happening in front of you, he has enough time and enough data to sit down, calmly collect himself, and readjust everything. And they've been in every single game because of that. Yeah, going into the game, it's a little bit of a shit show because, quite frankly, the Bengals don't know what they're going to do. Kind of compare it to a knuckleball pitcher. You can give the catcher the biggest mitt on the planet, but the pitcher doesn't even know where the ball's going. How's he supposed to catch it?
Right.
You know, the Bengals are starting to get in rhythm. Okay, we were able to kind of predict the route they were going to go on offense this week. And part of that is because there's 2 philosophies on defense, right? The main philosophy is what I'm going to do as a coordinator is I'm going to study you guys, figure out what you want to do, and I'm going to adjust my scheme to stop you. Okay, I'm going to do whatever I can within my ego and my playbook to slow you guys down. Yeah, and Mixon's gotten going too. We'll get to that here in a minute.
Yep.
The other philosophy is screw the other team. I don't care what they do. I don't care if it's the Bengals, it's the Patriots, the Packers. I'm going to run my defense.
Right.
And that's when you get in trouble, and that's what the Saints did. So first things first, the Saints had 2 major rules in their defensive playbook with their coverage. And what I say by that is every team has rules for their system. When I coached high school football, our big rule was C2 go 2, C3 go 3. So if we saw 3 receivers to one side, we were going to run cover 3. If we saw 2 to one side, we were going to run cover 2. The school I coached for doesn't run that anymore, so I feel comfortable saying it. But it was just an easy way for us to check in and out of coverages and know what we were going to do. That was our rule. Didn't matter what they were going to run. Didn't matter the blitz call. Didn't matter the defensive line stunt call. We knew C2 go 2, C3 go 3. And that's how we were going to run it. That's what we were going to do. And for the most part, it worked. Okay. The Saints, when you spread it out wide, they typically went either into a 2 high shell, which a lot of times is cover 2. Just because you see 2 high doesn't mean it's cover 2. Or they would go into a quarters or umbrella coverage.
Now go back to that real quick because you brought that up. Just because you see something at first doesn't mean that's the way they're going to stay. Because I know at the theater, a lot of people are calling that out. And that, it's like, go ahead.
Right. So, yeah, if you see 2 high safeties splitting the field in half, there's a really, really good chance that is probably cover 2 or at least a variation, even if it's quarters or cover 6. Teams that are really good at disguising things, Baltimore, Pittsburgh, to a degree, the Bengals, just because they start there doesn't mean, right before the snap, that's not where they're going to finish.
Right.
If you got 2 high safeties, I can still roll one safety from right hash all the way to the sideline. I can roll the other safety from left hash to middle, and I can drop a corner deep, and now we're in cover 3. Mm-hmm. Just depending on what you want to do and how you want to disguise it. But what the Saints would show on film from the last 2 weeks, and you always want to look at the last couple weeks, not the entirety of a season, because like we said, things change week to week to week in the NFL.
Yeah, full disclosure, tell me how many hours you looked at this stuff the week before. This is nuts.
Well, just the night before the game, I spent 2 hours on the first quarter of the Saints and Vikings game. So just that night alone for that one quarter. So there's 2 hours on probably 15 plays. The Saints rules, and I don't know this for facts. I'm not in their film room. I'm not in their playbook, but just what we can kind of see on film. If you empty your formation, meaning no one in the backfield, or at least go 4 wide, right? If you really, really spread it out against the Saints, they had like a 95% tendency of dropping at least 3 to 4 guys in coverage. Okay. So they were really, really, really going to drop back. That's what they were going to do. So if you clustered your formation, you go 2 tight on one side, 1 on the other, running back in the backfield, maybe under center, something more traditional, they checked into man almost every single time. The offensive coordinator's job partly is to identify what makes defensive coaches tick, what makes them call what. Coverages are called on the field before the play. They're not always called ahead of time. You can check in and out of coverages like that. It's pretty quick because, like I said, it doesn't really matter what the linebackers or the line's doing if you have good chemistry, okay? The Saints were checking into man defense if it was kind of a clustered 11 personnel set. They would check way back into an umbrella coverage. I'm talking 2, 4, and 6 quarters coverage. They would almost never run man against anything way spread out wide. Those are their rules. So now you know their rules. So now you know how to pick on them.
I'll say something here real quick, Greg. I see you making a whole bunch of comments about the running game and everything. We're going to get to that part. I'm not ignoring your comments, but I want to get to Samtori where he's going to break that down and then it'll kind of explain a little more.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No problem. We'll get there. I know Greg's anxious.
Yeah.
So the first one I want to look at is the Joe Mixon touchdown underneath. If you want to pod that up there, does that look good for everybody?
No, that's as good as it's going to get.
As good as it's going to get. That's fine. So like we said here, the Bengals are an empty. Empty means that there is no one in the backfield. Okay? So I like to do my routes in orange just because that's the way I like it. So you've got 2 guys to the right. You got your 5 linemen, 3 guys to the left. You have quarterback back there by himself, just 5 basic offensive linemen. That's also called Scat Protection. Basically, you just got 5 guys up front. They need to do what they're going to do. Okay? But we see they've spread out 5 wide, and they're showing a 2 high look. You've got 1 guy here. You got another guy here. Okay? That's your 2 high safety look. That immediately tells me that they are not going to be running any kind of man in this scenario. Another reason why is it's just kind of a death sentence to run man that close because you don't want any kind of someone just slipping, and that's all she wrote. There's just no help, and it's too close to the end zone to be giving up anything that quick. So the Bengals know that this is cover 2 almost right away. There's a couple ways you can beat cover 2, right? You can either clear out a linebacker, you can attack the very, very middle of the field, or you can run high-low concepts. High-low concepts are when you run 2 or 3 guys into one area, and one guy goes short, the other guy goes high. What I mean by this, and they run it on this play. Actually kind of run all of that on this play. In furthest inside receiver here, he runs kind of like this little hitch, right? It's just in this guy's zone right here. So the way we count receivers outside in is 1, 2, 3. So he's the number 3 receiver. Number 3 receiver in a cover 2 set, especially with a 3 receiver side, the linebacker gets him if he goes vertical. Okay. Safety is supposed to be watching number 2. If number 2 goes vertical in cover 2, he needs to haul ass and get his half. This is Tyler Boyd in this scenario, and he's got a deep corner. Okay. So this is the high route on the high-low concept. Backside, you have Higgins. Okay. He runs his little whip that he actually does pretty well for someone that's 6'4". It puts this corner in a bind because he's got a flat. Okay. So this corner either has to protect against T. Higgins or give up this deep corner. Okay. If he gives up the deep corner because he knows he's got help because the safety is supposed to get over there. So that's the concept they run on the backside. It's a high-low with a settle underneath. This side, this is a levels clear out.
Right.
Okay. You've got Jamar Chase. He basically just kind of runs a vertical. He's a decoy and he knows it because you can tell he doesn't really do shit at the end of this route. And, like the same rules on the backside for cover 2. You've got your corner who's supposed to play the flat, and you've got your safety who's watching 2. If 2 gets vertical, safety gets over the top. The linebackers kind of where it gets screwed up here. The other route that you have on the backside is the levels or the dig or the in route, however you want to call it. Mixon basically has about a 5-yard route, waits for that linebacker to get cleared out from Jamar, and cuts underneath. Okay, so this is where we're going to get a little bit more complicated with a second color here. I'm going to show you the zones.
Okay.
Safety is supposed to have deep half.
Right.
Safety is supposed to have deep half. Corner has a flat. This linebacker has this zone. This guy's got to curl to flat. This guy's got to curl to flat. And then this guy has his flat. Okay. There's a lot going on there. So bear with me.
Right.
Pete Warner is who they pick on in this play. It's the linebacker right here. We'll draw a bunch of little dots. Okay.
Okay. Yep.
He is not supposed to take Jamar Chase into the end zone. He is supposed to get on his outside leverage or inside leverage. Most likely, because the safety's playing outside, he's supposed to get his inside leverage. He should be chipping Jamar Chase on the inside shoulder if he gets vertical and getting back to this zone. What he ends up doing is dragging them all the way to the end zone, and everybody else voids their responsibility, and Mixon gets to run free. So you run the play here. It's already wide open.
Yep. Boom.
Pete Warner's already screwed up because his back is turned. One, we know what Joe Burrow says about back turns. If your back's turned, I'm throwing it.
Right.
So this guy's zone is already vacated. So you've got Jamar double teamed on a 7-yard route, which is ridiculous. He's playing his flat, which nobody's there. He's playing his flat. He's playing his hook to curl. He's playing his hook to curl. This guy completely goofed on Tyler Boyd. So you've got a wide open touchdown backside as well. I'll get rid of those. And Mixon's able to just walk in.
Boom.
So when people talk about, game plan and game calling, and play calling and all that other bullshit, that's how you know Zach Taylor's got his head on his shoulders and everybody's talking in a cohesive unit. They knew how to get him in cover 2. They knew how to beat cover 2, and they executed cover 2. They had him beat for a touchdown on 2 different receivers on that play in the red zone. You should not get guys that wide open. The only reason
is the one thing I know people keep bringing up is the deep shot. We need to take the deep shot. We need to take the deep shot. And Joe got some crap for saying, well, we can't. They won't let us. Explain that.
You can only do what the defense, for the most part, is going to let you do. There is something to be said for you don't let the defense dictate what you're going to do. But there's also, you don't walk into a lion's den screaming like a banshee. I don't care. When I coached defensive backs, that's what I did, corners and safeties. If I was in cover 4, I am daring you to throw it deep, because by the time the ball gets there, I got 2 guys in either spot jumping for the ball with your receiver. It's a death sentence. It's just, you don't make that throw. Okay. If you know for a fact that Ed Reed and McAllister are dropping deep on that side of the field, I don't care if it's Chad or Megatron. It's 2-on-1 essentially at that point, and you've got 2 guys over there waiting. Okay? The way you beat defenses is this. Every single defense has something that it's going to give you. Cover 2, it's the middles. Cover 3, it's the flats. Cover 6, it's kind of the middle, depending on where that wherever that cloud or that sky is going to come down on the right or left side. Every single defense has a hole. It's about finding the hole and exploiting it. Okay. Outside of that, eventually defenses are going to get out of what they want to do, and they're going to get scared, and they're going to have to do something. If you want to die by a million paper cuts, I'm 100% okay with that. I'm going to paper cut you to death, because here's the thing. That means you're dropping way back, and I'm just going to keep hitting Hurst and keep hitting Mixon or keep hitting Boyd. If you want to die that way, fine. I would much rather die by the deep ball, because even at that, it's still a 50-50 chance if my one guy is covering well. I hate being in situations as a coordinator where it's constantly 2nd and 5. The other thing with that touchdown that I want to show, if we can pull that screen back up.
Yep.
Where'd it go?
I don't know. There it is.
There it is. We'll keep rolling here. Let's check to see how our offensive line's doing here. Okay. So on the left side here, you've got a stunt already. Okay. So you have what's called an X-Stunt. Okay. Right. So you have your defensive lineman who started here, and he's going to cross in front and go after La'el Collins. The idea is for Kappa to be late passing him off, and then Cam Jordan to loop underneath.
Okay.
Take 2 seconds and watch what Kappa does. Pass, and he's already back in position.
That takes time right there just to be able to figure that out, being a new offensive line together, be able to make that quick movement right there. You don't get that without reps, right?
Right. So that's the chemistry thing that we keep talking about, where we said it's going to take 5 and 6 weeks. Week 1, Cam Jordan would have been a free rusher and Burrow would have been a sitting duck.
Right.
That's the stuff that takes time and will organically come together just by working together.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Now, so Kappa, kind of gets in his way. At this point, it's all blocked up. Left side does a great job too. And the guy didn't even stand a chance against Collins. Ball's out before they can even get restructured.
Yep.
Okay. So, they're doing fine in terms of blocking at this point. The other play, which is the exact opposite of what happened early on. So we said that teams like to go into their rules for defensive coverage. The Saints never deviated from their rules, and it shows. So this is the Jamar Chase touchdown that popped late in the game where he went straight down the sideline. Okay, so and then when we say it looks too high, right? Okay,
Right.
Doesn't mean that it's cover 2. Okay, this is actually cover 1. All right, so you have, come on now, you have single high safety with Tyrann Mathieu. Okay, these other guys, they're in man, and I'm going to see if I can get a thinner line here. I haven't tried using a thinner line yet. Jesus. Sorry, guys. New software, still learning everything here. So this is man. There we go.
Okay.
This is man, and then this is man right here. These guys are locked up, and this is man.
Now they got him in man. They finally got the look that they want because they kept taking the underneath stuff. They finally got him out of the cover 2, right? Am I correct in saying that?
Kind of. You got him out of cover 2. This was crunch time. They'd kind of been getting killed on the zone stuff, so they decided they were going to go man. And the Bengals knew they were probably going to want to go man. And all week on film, if you ran just a straight up 11 personnel set with a bunch up top and ISO at the bottom, they were going to go man.
Right.
So Bengals kind of played their cards right, called it what it was, got him into man. What ends up happening here? So we'll get the little coverages off of there. We'll get our routes, which I like in orange because go Bengals.
Exactly. My favorite color.
Jamar runs a vertical, stems his guy pretty good. Come on, Ben. Stems his guy pretty good. Kind of does a comeback. It's not a true comeback, but he basically just kind of floods back toward the sideline. Hurst also runs his vertical. He kind of just settles around right here. These guys on the backside do a high-low concept again, so we know these guys are in man. Mm-hmm. So this guy basically knows Tyrann Mathieu at this point. He's got help over top backside just because of how flooded back this corner is.
Right.
And he knows it's a high-low concept. So he knows if anything gets super vertical over there, it's fine. It's one-on-one with Chase backside. That's where his eyes are. That's where his eyes were always going to be. And quite frankly, outside of the missed tackle from the corner over here, this is almost 100% Tyrann Mathieu's fault. And I would have absolutely murdered him in a film room for this. So Jamar Chase does his corner, and we know how this goes. This guy misses his tackle, right? Mm-hmm. Tyrann Mathieu, if you are the last guy, you are the safety. You are the last defense, especially cover 1, right? He has this entire area to cover, all right? With that being said, there's something called taking proper angles. Mm-hmm. If you know you're the last guy, you do not take a flat angle. You do not take an inverted angle. What you are supposed to do is you are supposed to take a deep angle, okay? Mm-hmm. And what I mean by that is he needs to really, 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 get deep. He needs to protect, and the worst thing he can do is miss his guy inside. Absolute worst case scenario, if you're going to miss, you cut him off at the pass, and you make Jamar Chase cut back inside where your help is. Right. Your help's in the middle of the field. Your help's not to the sideline. It's a pursuit angle drill. We teach this in 3rd grade. This is very, very, very rudimentary football. Okay? So Jamar Chase will play. Gets upfield, stems, and he's already taken a too sharp of an angle.
Right.
He's in position to make a play, but even at this point, he's given Jamar Chase a two-way go.
Right.
You cannot give him a two-way go right now, okay? You need to get here, and he's either going to get forced out of bounds, so he needs to even get deeper.
Right.
Or he needs to force him back toward the middle of the field. You cannot let someone get a free pass down the sideline. The sideline is your depth route.
Right.
That is depth.
It's another defender. It's an extra defender in the field.
It's an extra defender. So you either run him out of bounds and you need to get a deeper angle, or you force him back inside. Mm-hmm. At this point, Jamar Chase is going to do nothing but go straight upfield. And you know why? Because look at his hips. Mm-hmm. His hips are turned this way. He's given him the avenue. Jamar Chase runs a 4.3. He runs like a freaking horse. And you gave him a shot down the sideline.
Uh-huh. He gone.
It's gone.
Yep. See ya.
If he'd have forced him back inside and Jamar Chase has to hang out in this area, you've got a safety.
Right.
It's still probably a bad bet, but the Bengals and their play calling were able to get the Saints into cover 1. which is man, which is what people do not want to run against the Bengals. They've been saying it all offseason. We don't want to run man. We want to run cover 2, cover 3, cover 4, sky, whatever they're going to do.
Right.
And now we got the wonderful little skips into the end zone.
Yeah. And then the punt.
Yep, and then the punt. Other thing on the back end of this, again, watch the line. It's a blitz.
Yep.
Okay. Blitz tells you right away that this is going to be probably man.
Right.
People run zone blitz, but it's awfully creative and you've got to be really good at it. So let's just see how our guys are doing. Collins looks fine. Cap is waiting on his. Karras looks fine. Volson looks fine. Williams looks fine. Mixon is reading his linebacker like he's supposed to do. Basically, this is called a dog. If the dog comes in, you block. If not, you can flood out as a release route. Mixon does his job and watches. He floods out. Corner goes. Everybody's still blocked up. Of all the little skedaddles and lines that I've drawn today, this is probably my favorite.
Yep. Right there. Nobody's touching jackpot. I like it.
That's called a perfect pocket. Step up
Crip,
and throw.
I can't make the screen any bigger, Crip. Sorry. This is as big as it gets right now. We'll try to figure that out for next week.
And he's gone.
Yep. He gone.
So when people want to complain about Zach Taylor in the play calling and, why they're doing certain things, play calling's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you just got to find your rhythm. Here's the deal. All right. Joe Burrow threw 6 weeks last year. Okay. Had 1,540 yards for 14 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. This year he has 1,600 yards. So he's got more yards. He's got 12 touchdowns, 2 on the ground, so still 14 total, and he has 5 interceptions. He's got less picks, more yards, and the same touchdowns. So for you guys complaining about, it's not like it was last year, the offense is actually performing a little better than it was last year. They've put up 27, 27, and 30 in their last 3 wins. They've won 3 of the last 4, and they're getting ready to host Atlanta, who can't fight their way out of a paper bag right now.
All right, let's get to Atlanta here in a second. Let me get to Betfred here. Gotta do this here real quick. But Betfred is doing a giveaway this week. Now, the only way you get in this giveaway is you pre-register. And I said the link is down below. And it says your decision to pre-register for Betfred just got sweeter. Every pre-registration customer will get a $20 Fed bet when you sign up after January 1st. Plus, don't forget to register now for week 4. They're giving a massive pre-registration giveaway. So the reason you sign up now is for the giveaways and also get you ready to go January 1st to make your first bet. Because we all know January 1st, that's when sports betting is legal in Ohio. This is going to be on an app and everything. You just do it right from your phone. So it's going to be awesome. Like I said, we are in partners with it, me and Bengals and Brews. So there is the link below. So, all right, moving on. What you're saying about the Falcons this week, and we've had some different questions in the chat about that too. What is your thoughts? I know you haven't got
Let's start I've read kind of a lot of the questions, and the questions kind of go with where I wanted to talk. So let's just pump some questions up and just answer them that way.
Let me see. I'm going to roll back. I know somebody asked me to trade for one. I'm like, hold on, where's that one at?
Nah.
No. Hey, Greg. Hey, Greg agrees with you. Where are they at? I can't find them here. Screen bigger. There you go. Tom Brooks. I'm concerned about Atlanta and their run game. Can we get enough offensive plays? I mean, it's kind of similar to what happened last week.
It depends. Can you get off the field?
Yeah.
That's the magic question right now. Are they going to be able to get off the field? Their pass game is probably going to be very similar to what was on par last week with the Saints. Andy is a far better passer than Marcus Mariota. But Andy was also working with guys that he really probably hasn't worked with all year. They had a lot of practice squad guys going. It's going to really, really come down to stopping Atlanta's run game. First and foremost, the Saints have one of the best run games in the NFL, and they did coming into that game. Mm-hmm. Atlanta, to my knowledge, is still pretty good, but they run a very similar run game to what the Ravens do. There's going to be a lot of RPOs, a mobile quarterback, which, that might throw a wrinkle at the Bengals here. I know Marcus can run. Yeah. The question I think I saw in the chat was, what do you think they're going to do on the line? Well, Tupo's probably not going to play. We know G.J. Reader's not going to play.
But Logan Wilson might, though. That was some of the good news. He had full range of motion according to James Rapine. He didn't practice. He was on the rehab site. So maybe his day-to-day is what he said.
That doesn't even concern me, quite frankly. It doesn't matter who your linebackers are or how good they are if you're letting guards and centers get up into the second level and block them. Linebackers feed and look the best when they can shoot a gap because the defensive line's done their job. So if your defensive line is porous as a sponge, it's not going to really matter who the linebacker is.
So this question, does it come down to the coin flip? That's always kind of my running joke. But yeah, we lead early, sure. We could have done that last week, but we went 3-and-out in the first one.
It could. In terms of what I think they're going to do on the line, I have a feeling they're going to do – well, shoot. I was going to say they might do some 5-man fronts, but at the same time, they don't have that nose guard right now to do the I have reservations about Sue.
Yeah, I don't.
In order to run 5-man fronts, you have to have a zero technique or at least a shade. So the big fat guy in the middle, your DJ Reader, your Tupou. Maybe they feel comfortable doing that with Shelvin. I would highly doubt it. Maybe they feel comfortable doing it with God, if I pronounce his name wrong, I'm sorry. Tufalele.
I know. The Devs will be mad at me for saying that. It's not that. But yeah, Tufalele. Actually, he played, I thought, pretty good for
being asked what he was, asked to do that in the situation he did fine. If they have a guy they're comfortable doing with, I see a lot of 5-man fronts. If not, I see a lot of 4-man fronts where guys are constantly rotating because they're going to need to stay fresh the entire game. But here's why I'm not worried. Well, you can, but you still got to stuff the gaps. They got shredded on 4-man gaps last week. They got double teamed out the ass, and the linebackers got destroyed. And it's just kind of what happens. It's called a money block. You get 2 guys in the interior lineman, whether it's a 1 technique or a 3 technique. It's called 4 hands and 4 eyes. You get 4 hands on a guy, you get 2 eyes on the second level. Once he's secured, you pass off and go.
Right.
That's why the 4-man front might not work well this week because they're getting double teamed, and that's on film now. The reason I'm not worried about Atlanta strictly comes down to this is a passing league, and the Saints took most of the second half away from the Bengals, and they had a huge lead going into the second half, and it still didn't matter. Trying to win a shootout, because let's just say that's the route it goes. Trying to win a shootout with a run game is like bringing a knife to a gunfight. You might have a chance, but, at some point, all it takes is one 60-yard play from Jamar Chase. At some point, Joe Burrow can nickel and dime you to death. It is far easier. Tufale. Is that – okay, sure.
Tufale.
It is far, far easier to go down the field passing the ball to win games than it is running the ball. Running the ball does 2 things. It tires out a defense, and it shortens the game. And when you shorten the game, I guess this is a third thing indirectly, it takes possessions away from the other team. So, yeah, I mean, the way to beat the Bengals right now is to get an early lead and run the whole clock out. But you've still got to be effective in scoring points because that was the thing. The Saints, they couldn't score. They took the whole second half away, and they put 6 points on the board?
Yeah.
That's not enough. This is a second half team. So it's going to be interesting. I don't know what their red zone efficiency is.
This is interesting. We kind of talked about this off air. What'd you say about Kyle Pitts and his touchdowns?
He scored 2 touchdowns so far in his career, I think.
And one is on American soil, I think you said,
or like maybe 2 are on American soil. Like he's not that guy. I don't care, or at least he's not with that quarterback.
Right.
I don't care what happens from the 1-yard line to the 1-yard line. If you want to bog down inside the 10 every single time, take 7 minutes off the clock and kick a field goal, that's a win for me. Because here's the deal. If you kick 2 field goals and take 12 minutes off the clock, I can make that up in 1 play.
Right.
That's why I'm not super concerned. I haven't looked at Atlanta's defense yet. Don't know yet. They're not somebody I watch on a regular basis. They're not somebody I've watched at all this year. So we'll see.
Happening, though.
Yeah, I'm sure tonight I'll watch probably 3 or 4 hours and drive my wife crazy, but it is what it is.
I'm sure we drove her crazy in the car. All right, Kane here says, second half, did you notice a saw pressure blitz every time Hill was under center?
Yeah, I mean they decided they wanted to put pressure on him. Hill's not somebody that's a super efficient passer, and they need to speed up his process, whether that's a bootleg or a handoff or whatever. Hill is not a traditional quarterback. As much as he wants to think he's a traditional quarterback and get paid like a traditional quarterback, he ain't.
Right. They have to run him more like Baltimore runs the offense for Lamar, I think.
Right. And pressure is not necessarily always to sack the quarterback. It's to speed up the processing, whether that's, even if it's just a handoff. I don't think people realize how – yes, ma'am?
I just need a phone charger.
Need a phone charger.
Don't worry about us. We're just doing a podcast. It's no big deal.
We love you.
Have you had it?
I don't think people quite understand even the rhythm that it takes to hand off a ball. I don't know how many times I've seen it where a quarterback comes in and just taking a snap under center gets messed up, or handing off a ball gets messed up. And if you're going to run a game plan, God forbid, with 2 and 3 different quarterbacks, every single time one comes in, I'm going to, put the burner on high and see what you can do. Even if it's just trying to get you to, especially if it's a read option and that ball's tucked in and the running back thinks he's got it. Because guess what? The running back, every time there's an RPO, he thinks he's got it. Mm-hmm. They anticipate taking the ball. So if you speed that process up, especially with a quarterback that you're going to run that stuff with, even if you don't get there, there's a chance he could fumble. There's a chance the ball comes loose. There's a chance he throws it before he wants to. And they were throwing short, so get your hands up. It's just a matter of accelerating the entire process.
Should I get through some of these questions here? One Nation, put Bell in the box and drop Dax Hill. What thoughts?
Well, if you're doing that, it means you have 3 safeties, and that means either a linebacker's coming out or a defensive lineman's coming out. I don't know if I want to take that much ass out of the box right now, and I don't know if anybody knows what that means or not. I don't want to take a big body out of the box. I want as much power and strength in there as I can get, whether that's an extra linebacker. If you guys want to take Mike Hilton out, or Eli Apple out and substitute another guy in that way, that's fine. I definitely see Von Bell rocking down in the box. I just don't see them rolling with 5 defensive backs when they need to stop the run.
Right, let's get to Haas here. And this is one of my concerns. Mixon's pass blocking is still somewhat an issue. Should they do something to address this? And if so, what could they do to help?
So it's kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't thing. Guys that are good pass blockers are guys that want to be good pass blockers. It's not a he's not big enough thing. It's not a he's not quick enough thing. Some guys don't like doing it, and it shows. Not saying he doesn't like to, not saying he's not willing to, but there's no reason a running back shouldn't be a good pass blocker. It's technique and willingness, more or less. But here's the deal. If you need to have a good pass blocker in there, it's P. Ryan, and they're probably going to pass the ball at that point. So do you tip the play to get better protection?
Right.
Or do you leave it up to mystery with a spotty running back pass blocker? There are plenty of great running backs and great offenses that have won Super Bowls and churned out fantastic yards and point totals without that running back being a great pass blocker. It's probably, if I have 5 concerns with this team right now, it's probably number 6. I'm not really worried about it too much. I would rather him get running the ball on track than worried about who my best pass blocking running back is right now.
Oh, Crypt Keeper's got a new name for you now.
Yoda. Why Yoda?
Because wise one. You're very, very wise. I have one here. I'm gonna scroll back up here. I told everybody they enjoy this. Like I said, it was a 2-hour car ride, and we talked like this the whole time. it was. We were up there. I didn't even notice how long it was. It was very, very. Like I said, I geek out on this stuff. So, all right, Cincy James here. He'll play 3 snaps last week, right? I don't see them making him a massive part of the game plan. I think he's gonna be a massive part of the game plan next year, right, after Jesse Bates leaves. That's where I think they're at with him. What's your thoughts?
It just comes down to they need more specialists for stopping the run this week. I would anticipate he becomes a bigger part of the game plan against teams like Buffalo or Tampa or something a little bit more high flying where they want another.
That's when you need the 3 safety look, right? For
right.
pass. Yeah.
Once you hit the Kansas Cities of the world, they're going to try and let it rip. That's probably his forte. He's great against the run for a corner, or a safety or DB or hybrid or however you want to label him. He's more of an athlete back there. He kind of fits that Swiss Army knife mold. Right. But I'm also not, because here's the deal. If you're going to take someone off of the field to stop the run in order for Dax Hill to help stop the run, rather, I'm not taking off Trey Hendrickson. I'm not taking off Sam Hubbard.
Right.
I'm not taking off any of my interior defensive linemen, whether that's 1 or 2 for the play. I'm not taking off Pratt. I'm not taking off Logan Wilson. I'm not taking out Von Bell, and I'm not replacing Mike Hilton with him. So at this point, you're looking at taking Chidobe Awuzie off and hoping to God it's not our pass.
Right.
You're taking Jesse Bates off, which, depending who you talk to, might not be a terrible decision at this point. Or you're taking Eli Apple off, which he doesn't play that position routinely, and you hope to God it's not a pass.
Right.
This is the great thing about being a decent ball club and drafting great athletes at depth. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you struggle to find a spot for them,
and that's not a bad thing. I'll take that all day long. That's a good thing. Let's get the Greg here again. I think he said this before. P-Ron was used as off tackle and a blocking and mixing screens, checkdowns, etc. They put them in the same play, split back formation to not tip off plays. I know the big thing was Mixon tipping plays off the week before that.
Yeah, sure. He didn't do it this week. We kind of charted it. There wasn't any issues there. Right. I think whoever found that out on Twitter, the Bengals saw it and they fixed it real quick. Here's the other thing with that, and it's kind of the exact same conversation we just had. I'm okay with that pending the situation.
Right.
But the moment you put a second running back out there, which of these other 4 guys are you taking off the field? You taking Jamar off? No. Taking Boyd off?
Nope.
No. Taking Higgins off? No. Taking Hurst off?
No.
I don't want to. I mean, if you want to run, you've only got 5 eligible receivers on every single play. I'm sure there's packages. If you want to run 2-back set with a tight end, you absolutely have to just have 2 wide receivers. So now you have to figure out which 2 you want and what package and what part of the field and what down and distance. There's ways to do it. But again, these are so little of a concern for me.
Everybody remembers the 1988 team when we had a 2-back offense. We had James Brooks, we had Ickey Woods, but we only had 2 wide receivers. They didn't run 3 wide receivers. They didn't run spread. So it's not the 1980s.
You ran 21 personnel.
Right.
The Bengals run 11 personnel more than just about anybody in the NFL. And for those of you that don't know what that means, 11 is just broken down into 2 numbers. It's 1 back, 1 tight end. Out of your 5 eligible players, which, 1 + 1 - 5, it's 3 receivers left.
I was told there's no math in this show. I don't.
There's math. There's a lot of math in football. So if you want to run a 21 personnel set, that's fine. But you got to take one of those guys off the field, which they've shown tendencies to do for sure. I mean, I don't know how many times I see where they have, a 13 personnel set where they've got 1 running back, 3 tight ends, and Stanley Morgan's out there to chip block. So I'm sure they've got the package. It's just not something that I would feature.
Somebody's saying we should sit up Jackson Carman. I think did you mean tight end? What's NT? I don't know what they mean by that.
No, that means nose tackle. Put him on.
Nose tackle. Oh, there it is. Okay, I got you. Sorry. Yeah, I don't.
Yeah. He's definitely not known for sustaining blocks, so maybe he can shed them.
Fuji here says, I would be surprised to see Dominic Davis brought up this week.
You never know. I mean, you really, really never know.
Well, you said something off air. You think they're going to kind of do what Zim did and just throw a whole bunch of bodies at it and keep
I think they're going to keep rotating. I think you're going to see a lot of I think you're just going to see a lot of those main 8 guys rotating around.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're going to see them bounce Hubbard in at times, and run with Hendrickson and whoever they want at nose, and then Hubbard, and then Osai, and then drop Von Bell in the box. God, praying that Logan Wilson can play and Jermaine Pratt. And, you might have an 8-man box at times, and it's going to be read steps, 2 steps up, see if it's a run, go plug your gap. If not, get back in your zone. It's going And guess what? They're probably going to try a little bit of all of it and throw some at the wall and see what sticks.
Now, I know we're deep at linebacker, but really, if Logan doesn't play, which I think with James Rapine saying he had he saw him move his shoulder around, I think that's a good sign. And Jonah Williams played with a dislocated kneecap. These guys are nuts. But just with the potential of Logan Wilson not being there, and he is there's not many linebackers that play every down. Logan Wilson can play every single down. How big of a loss is that? I know it's a deep room, but Logan Wilson is a elite, in my opinion, linebacker. I think he's playing at a Pro Bowl, All-Pro level this year. I think he was doing it last year too before he got hurt.
In terms of talent, let me explain here. In terms of talent, it's not a huge loss. Athletically speaking, Akeem Davis-Gaither is just as athletic as anybody on the field.
Right.
So if you have to have Akeem Davis-Gaither and Jermaine Pratt out there, so be it. The loss is going to be the communication. Every single person in the NFL is more than gifted enough to do what they need to do at a high level.
Right.
The loss comes at communication and being a captain and getting everybody in the right spot. So when you lose that guy and you lose your coach on the field and you lose your extra set of eyes, that's when teams are constantly getting first downs on third down. Teams are constantly moving the change. There's a breakdown in protection, or, someone who was supposed to cover that linebacker, you didn't make the right call. You didn't check the right coverage. It's those kind of things. Those are the things I worry about. And that is massive with Logan Wilson because he has been getting people in the right spots. If Jermaine Pratt and Akeem Davis-Gaither are good on checking into those things, you might be able to survive it this week. And quite frankly, Jermaine Pratt, I think, plays the run well. I don't know how he grades, but just on film, I think he's okay against the run. It's really, really, really going to come down to how they secure those A-gaps right in the middle on each side of the center. If they get those secured properly and they have to force everything to keep bouncing outside to Hubbard and letting Hilton clean up in the alley or Von Bell clean up on the other alley, they'll be okay. But you've got to absolutely secure the A-gaps. The most important spot of any defense in any sport, basketball, baseball, football, volleyball, is the exact middle of the field. Mm-hmm. If you have a soft belly, you are screwed. They've got to make sure that's secure.
All right, so moving forward to Atlanta this week, I know you haven't done film study or watched them a whole lot, but what is the game plan? I think we said this a little earlier, but similar to this past week, in just the little bit you've got to look. What do you think they need to do as far as stopping? I think we already stopped there, but as far as the offense goes against what they found out this week, you think they're staying gun? Are they going to go back under center, or is it more dependent on what Atlanta's going to give us?
If they go under center any more than 3 times in that game, I would be shocked. It's just something that hasn't worked out well for them.
Right. And Joe's more comfortable in gun. Let's be honest.
Well, Joe's a new wave quarterback. They grew up in gun.
Mm-hmm.
Most high schools and most grade schools even are running shotgun at this point. It's more comfortable for people to run gun. I think they run well out of gun at this point. They pass block well out of gun. There's a little bit of mystery whether they're going to run, pass, RPO, whatever. Defenses actually have to respect the run and how they're doing at this point. Cincy James is right. They found something with shotgun. It works. And if they can sit in shotgun and all they really have to do is, well, if I bunch up those guys and put that guy out wide, they're in man. They're just going to do that. They're going to motion people and change formations to what they want to do. Almost any passing concept can be run out of any formation. Almost any run concept can be run out of any formation. You can kind of do what you want to do wherever you're at, especially in gun.
Right.
It's a matter of the Bengals being able to, and they've probably already done it, identify what makes Atlanta tick. What gets them in cover 2, what gets them in man, what gets them in cover 3, what gets them in quarters. And then once we get that look, where are we going? And at that point, it's on the players to execute.
Mm-hmm. And that changes from play to play, half to half. They're constantly trying to figure out and check and checkmate, trying to figure out what they're going to do. And the Bengals got to have a plan for that.
It's a game of chess that starts a week out.
Exactly. All right. Well, Samtori, dude, this has been awesome. This like I said, I've been waiting for this all week. Like I said, I geeked out on the whole 2-hour car ride. It was so much fun hanging out with you doing that. I'm really looking forward to doing this every Wednesday. If you guys are not following Samtori, you better follow him. If you're not watching his show, it's Rally Around the Natty with him and Bengals Dad. Tell them where they can follow you. Tell them about your show and what you got coming up here.
Yes. So my show is Rally Around the Natty. It's just a Cincinnati sports talk show that my dad and I do. We always kind of call each other 2 or 3 hours a day on the phone and just talk about whatever's going on. And we more or less just decided to record the phone calls. As we were getting older, we just wanted something to look back on that we thought would be fun. And it kind of just turned into a fun little podcast. We do it every Monday and Wednesday night. We'll actually probably be getting ready to go live sometime between now and 7 o'clock. So if you guys want to jump over to that channel in the next 30 minutes, we'll be on there.
Exactly.
We will probably be, so it's Wednesday, probably be previewing the Thursday night game coming up tomorrow. A lot of times we have Cincy James and Greg Luther on just kind of as our, bantering pals. Jeff, you've been on a few times. Bengals and Brews guys have been on a few times. We're we just kind of have fun with it. It's nothing too serious. Tonight we'll be doing some of the week 7 picks, and I might have Greg on there to try and compare some people to food. That's kind of his thing right now.
There you go. Greg and his grilled cheese sandwich. Now, tell everybody about the really important podcast you have that you are a complete expert on. I mean, it's a new one. It's the Brew Jackets. I mean, your breakdown of icing and offsides and everything is unfreaking believable.
Yeah, so I am technically a host and co-founder of the Brew Jackets podcast, along with Dale. Along with Kevin, who's probably running that Union Blue Shoulders tweet right there.
Yep.
Along with Matt Lawless. I'm tired, so if I'm forgetting somebody, I'm sorry. Jeff, I know you
Hefty Duck.
Hefty Duck Lance. I'm so damn sorry. I actually haven't been on in like a week.
We were on last Wednesday. We were coming back in from the car.
It's a week. So, it's a hockey podcast. Kind of follows the same theming of Bengals and Brews. If you've watched that, we cover the Blue Jackets, everything that's going on. A lot of game breakdowns. Lance, Kevin, Matt, and Dale do a great job. I'm kind of learning on the fly. I've never watched hockey in my life.
You still haven't yet? It was on. I showed you what hockey was the other night when we were with Dale. I said, that's hockey. You're like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, for 3 seconds. No, I watched I watched half of a game this year. No idea what was going on.
Well, the Blue Jackets won last night. Just to let you know, they won in overtime.
They did, and I jumped on the show.
Yes.
I jumped on the show at about 10:30 last night, yelled Johnny Hockey, and got off just so they knew.
See, that's the thing. You guys do it so damn late. I can't get on that much. So I like to get on too as when I can. Now, Crypt Keeper has a question before you leave. Is Bengal Dad going to sing tonight?
That's up to him, man. I've tried several times to try and get him to sing. I don't know if he is. He's got a very eclectic music taste, so we'll try. I always kind of badger him toward the end, like, "What are you going to sing for us?" And he's like, "Oh." Like the first 7 or 8 episodes, he sang something, and then I would kind of pipe in the outro when we were still uploading everything, and I don't think I've uploaded anything in a while. I would kind of fade it in and make it sound right, and it was good. And he hasn't done it in probably 15 or 20 episodes.
He needs to step up tonight. Then
he needs to step up.
So exactly. So go check out Rally Around the Natty tonight at 7 o'clock. Go check it out here. So Tori, honestly, I said this is awesome. I appreciate you coming on and doing this. If nobody watched this, which I think we had a lot of people watch it, I think a lot of people enjoyed this. Your breakdown, it's really cool. So again, dude, I appreciate you, and we'll have to do this again next Wednesday. Who dat?
Yeah, for sure. Hopefully, it's good stuff to break down because if they start screwing up, I will torch them. I don't care.
There you go. See you, buddy.
See you, man.
All right, guys. Like I said, I hope you enjoyed that. Like I said, I am not kidding. It was a 2-hour car ride, and we talked about Zach Taylor, the offense, the breakdowns, all this stuff, and he showed me all this stuff. I'm like, dude, this is awesome. I'm like, I can't explain this stuff. I'm like, I got it in my head. I'm trying to do it. Like he can explain it. It's so much better than what I can do. Anyway, let's get to the Facebook groups that let me live stream, and I appreciate every single one of them. They're Houday Nation, Houday Legion, Bearcat Ruckus, The Ice Bar, and you can follow me on all my social media platforms, all under Sports with Strawberry Ice. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Twitter handle is at Jeff A. Trunapole. TikTok is at Iceman90. YouTubers, we're at 1,913 subscribers. I'm so close to 2,000 subscribers. Please tell your friends, tell your neighbors about Sports with Strawberry Ice. And I am very excited to be a part of Betfred, their sports betting, like I said, it's going to be legal here in in Ohio here January 1st. So you want to make sure you get in there and you pre-register because you can get on their giveaway. They give away Bengals tickets. So your decision to pre-register with Betfred just got sweeter. Every pre-registered customer will get a $20 Fred bet when they sign up on or after January 1st. Plus, don't forget, it's week 4 and our massive pre-registration giveaway. So you can't make any bets right now, but get them registered and you have a possibility of a chance to win some Bengals tickets and some free merch. So check it out. Go to Betfred. And like I said, the link is, let's see, put it up here. Bam. There's the link. Go to that one. It's my link along with Bengals and Brews. So make sure, do me a favor, if you're going to sign up under that one. Helps me out. So I'd appreciate it. I appreciate all the support you guys have given me. You know, like I said, this has been an absolute blast. I always say this all the time. I never thought this would be this cool and I had this many people watching the show, but I appreciate you guys. Tomorrow, it's going to be a rated R show. We got the one, the only, the man from Boston. You know, he's Kieran. So we're going to have him and his thoughts of the Falcons and thoughts of LSU, because you know they won. So you know he's got to go talk some trash about LSU, or not about trash, about the other teams, about Florida, probably because they beat Florida. Anyway, join us tomorrow. Kieran will be on live at 5:30. Join us next Wednesday again. Like I said, Samtori will be on next Wednesday. Monday, you know, I got Bengals Cap. Tuesday is Ice Brew Days with my boy Dale. Anyway, got a lot of cool stuff lined up here in the next week. Also, I got Justin Williams. He's gonna be on next week too from The Athletic, talking Bearcat football and basketball. And Trags is going to be on too from Field Media. So I got a lot of stuff coming up. Working hard for you guys, trying to get as much information as I can get out. Anyway, I'm rambling on here. Let's get the hell out of here. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Say it with me, people. And that's just sports, baby. See ya!
Let's go. In the day, black in the night. Stripes in our veins, sparks gonna fly. The beast is awake, orange, black and white. Cause when the jungle come alive, day we ignite in Cincinnati, we gon' rise in the jungle, we unite in dripping orange and black and white. Day when we fight, live and die in these stripes. Wake up the beast, every day is a beast. Time to bust it off the leash. In the jungle, dripping heat. Tigers strike the city streets. East side, stand up. West side, stand up. If you reppin', who they? Time to put your hands up. Bengals stripes, we in it. New day, new age, yeah, we get it. Cincinnati jungle fitted. Who they in our house, we win it. Orange and black and white, we build it. Earn our stripes, you know we kill it. Bleed our colors, jungle dripping. Nasty, natty, yeah, we live it. Lit the crowd, get the city loud. Yeah, we feasting now. Fit the bounce, make the city howl. Now we beastin' now. Thunder through the tunnel, from the sideline to the huddle. Stripes we tatted on the jungle when we flex that who they muscle on them. Stripes, Cincinnati, we gon' rise in the jungle, we unite in dripping orange and black and white. All day when we fight, live and die in these stripes. Now who gotta move like it on? Now who wanna move closing on? Now who wanna move on? If you got stripes, then you let the city know you rock 'em. Yeah, we got 'em. Yeah, we fought 'em. Like that black and orange up on 'em.